Like to improve your game? Hey, Gary Peterson here from squashanalysis.com and welcome to our podcast, Squash Addict. I'd like you to do one thing for me, and that's take a look at your outcomes. It could be your shot, your power, or even your target outcomes, and ask yourself, is there a better way? Well, we're very, very confident that we've got the latest and greatest, the best methods in the world. And this very much could be one of them. So sit back, enjoy, let's get into it. Okay, today I'm going to tell you why you can't do what the PSA players do. It's really simple, it's really basic, but you cannot play like the PSA players simply because you don't have the muscle strength they do. And I'll qualify all this and I'll say, you can do little components of it. You can look at certain shots and you can go, oh, I can do that, I love that one, I'm just going to practice that, I'm going to get really strong in this area and I can do that. What happens is they have trained bodies. And you play 2 to 3 times a week, so they're playing 4 hours a day, and you're playing 2 to 3 times a week. So this is general, of course. By the way, and better players are playing more often, and they're training, and they're doing all sorts of things. But I'll tell you a little story. I see a lot of players, a lot of people who are in training and so on, whatever else, and they're trying to have the smallest possible backswing and start their racket really low and get the outcomes that the PSA players do. Now, what happens is if you drive your racket down to the floor and open the racket face, opening the racket face will make the ball go up, driving the racket down to the floor will make the ball go down, but that will put cut and kill on the ball and it'll make the ball bind in the back corners. Now, I needed to tell you that first of all, simply because that's how you improve your base drive. And that's what all the best players in the world are doing. What it does is it binds the ball in the back corner and therefore it doesn't bounce out. It doesn't hit the floor, back wall and come out a long way. They have to go in and get it before it hits the back wall. So they spend all this time going in, training their bodies to take a ball on the rise, go back in there and get the ball before it gets into the back corners because it's just not coming out. It does come off there every now and then, but generally it's more often than not. The ball will be really good length and it means that it dies in the back corner and they've got to go and do the work to get it. So the reason I'm telling you all this is because what I look at, let's say I'll pick Nick Matthews. He's a great player to pick because he's just awesome in what he does and how he's modified his game and how he does stuff and all the rest of it. Right, he'll come back and he'll have his racket only at around about waist high. He'll cut down to the floor, pull his body out and all the rest of it and hit target with a powerful drive like you would not believe. I'm going, that's just unbelievable. I'd love to be able to do that. And I can do that if I want to spend 4 hours a day in the gym. Right now, for me to get the same, now I'm a trained body as well, for me to get the same power and same drive and same everything on the ball that Nick Matthews gets from around about chest high to cut down to hip high with his racket, I've got to have my racket above my head and drive the racket to the floor with full body power and full swing because simply I'm not strong enough to be able to do it. Now, this is what happens all through Asia and everywhere. They go, oh, everybody's holding the racket really low. We want to cut and kill the ball and let's go. Let's start with a low racket. And they end up opening the racket face and pushing the racket toward the front wall. Now, that's good in a fair few ways, and it really makes a tight ball. It gives you a tight ball near the wall, so your drives become really, really accurate, as in width accurate. But the ball tends to bounce on. It bounces on the floor, then hits the back wall, then comes off, albeit that it stays near the side wall. So it's not all bad. It's actually quite handy and quite good, and really good for a volley and a few other things like that. So there's other benefits. But what I'm saying is you can't look at PSA players and go, I'm going to do this because this is what the PSA players are doing. Now, unless you've got the same body strength or trained to have the same body strength, you're not going to be able to. You can head in that direction and you can understand how good it is and you can have appreciation for the outcomes that they get, and you need to modify. So what general mortals, us, you and me and everybody else, what we need to do is to identify how you can get the same outcomes. Look at the outcomes they get rather than let's say the power and the sheer force that they put into every single ball, and work on that and work within your own capabilities. So if you are not strong enough to be able to go off a really short swing and stab the ball and hit massive power and get your target, you go, well, I'm going to have a higher racket preparation, therefore I'm going to have to start earlier with my racket prep, therefore as I'm running to the ball I'm going to have to get my racket up earlier and so on and get it that way. So rather than just going with the the belief that you can do everything that PSA players do. You just can't. It's you simply. As I said, you can pick certain areas, like it might be a forehand volley, it might be something where you actually move really well and you're actually quite strong in your body in that area. You can emulate the PSA players in that area. You can pick other areas, say at the front court, how they move and lunge and stuff, because generally you'll be able to, it's just the recovery is the problem. So the difference between PSA players and you will be the fact that you'll be able to do that lunge and you'll be able to get the ball most likely, but you'll only be able to get it once and not come off it, because they can recover really, really quickly because they train to recover. And that's the same with a lot of the drives and stuff as well. You get there, you can hit one drive, but you can't come off the ball and cover all the shots and come in on the volley or do anything as they do, because it's severe muscle strength. And I've watched Paul Cole training, because I actually subscribe to Paul Cole on Facebook and whatever else, and I'm going, you're kidding me what you're doing. Is that phenomenal what they're doing? They're unbelievable what they're doing, these guys. The amount of training and the seriousness and involvement in the training, which is what you'd expect in world standard players, is just phenomenal. They just had a planking challenge recently. I think they were doing 25 minutes of planking and whatever else, which is unbelievable, because I'm struggling after about a minute, as most likely you guys are, 3 minutes or something like that. But so this is what they do, and it all comes down to the training and how much training you do and what you're willing to commit to get the outcomes, and how viable it is and how important squash is to you and everything as well. But so understand that with PSA players, you don't just go, he's doing that, I'm going to do that. So there's a second part to this that I want to say. With the PSA players, if I spoke with this kid and said to him recently, who's your favourite player on the PSA, or who was your favourite player? And I go, David Palmer. He goes, David Palmer. I go, how come David Palmer? I go, that's a bit strange, because there's all these fantastic players today on the court and whatever. And it turned out that he'd just been to a coaching camp with David Palmer, so that was the reason. But I said to him, I go, listen, there's a lot better guys out there. Nothing against Dave Palmer and the way he plays and how he works, but I'll qualify what I say right now before you get a little bit concerned that I'm knocking Dave Palmer around. He's awesome. He's fantastic. Magnificent player. He's just great, right? But what happens is you've got this is an Indian kid, and he's really slight in body and whatever else, and he's going, Dave Palmer is my favourite player. I go, well, he can never be like Dave Palmer, because he hasn't got the same muscle type. He's not going to have the same strength. He's not got the same body shape. And so for him to have Dave Palmer to look up to and go, I just want to play like Dave Palmer, it's just never, ever, ever going to happen. It's just not going to happen at all, because he does not have the physical characteristics that Dave Palmer has. So therefore, I talk to other kids and I go, you watch much PSA squash? And they go, yeah, I watch a little bit here and there. And you ask them about their favourite players and whatever else. And I go, you know what you want to do? You need to pick somebody. Look, you're quite tall, you're quite slender, you're really fast, you've got really elastic muscles. You want to pick somebody who's along the same lines. What about James Willstrop? Get into him, watch him, do everything he does, because you've got the same body characteristics that he has. So therefore, that means that you should be able to attain, within reason, as much as you want to train, the outcomes that he gets. So if you want to train 4 hours a day and really physically push yourself around, get your concentration up and be involved in it all the time, then you can be as good as James Willstrop, because you have the same physical capabilities. And so that's how it all works. So basically, if you can pick somebody that you have the same physiological makeup, then you can generally head along the same lines of getting the same outcomes they get, depending on how much work you want to put in. But you do need to understand that there's different body types and different capabilities within those body types. It's short twitch fiber versus long twitch fiber muscles. And so the short twitch fiber are little elastic fast ones, and the long twitch fiber are the slow muscles that hit real powerful. And David Palmer has powerful long twitch fiber muscles. That's why he's awesome on the volley. That's why his shots are so powerful. That's why his swing is so often so short and devastating and strong. So basically that's how it works. So with all of this, the whole premise of this was the fact that people watch PSA TV and they go, oh, I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to do that. We can do that for about a rally, and then you'll be stuffed, because the amount of energy and effort used by the PSA players, even within one rally, you look at it and people are going, oh, that's about the equivalent of one of my games, which is pretty almost right as well. So you can't afford to actually do what the PSA players do, because you can't do it basically because you're physically not capable until you train your muscles to be able to do that. So that comes into every single area, and it also comes into the fitness component of it as well. So every single area, being flexibility, being strength, being fitness, being cardio fitness, being whatever. You just have to train to get those outcomes. So it's wonderful to watch, and it's fantastic, and I love to watch it as well. And I even look at it and go, God, geez, I wish I could do that, because I'm 53 now and my body just can't do the things that I used to be able to do. I used to be able to be lightning fast and get everything back and do whatever I wanted to do and have shot options, come in, hold my body and stop and then play a shot and everything. Now it's just a case of making sure you get there before the thing bounces twice. So you have to understand that there's limitations for age, and there's limitations for body capability, there's limitations on just general flexibility and body capabilities within the type of body that you have. So there you go. You can't do what the PSA players do. It's a bit harsh, it's a bit tough, but you can do some of what the PSA players do. And if you train more, you'll be able to do more of what the PSA players do. But please don't go out there and go, I've watched this bloke play last week, he's awesome, I'm going to be just like him, because I'm telling you, you're going to struggle. And secondly, you're playing a game that you're not normally used to, and so therefore you're not going to be comfortable and capable at it anyway. You have to train those type of games to be able to get an outcome as well. So once you pick up a new shot, train it, get used to it, get a really good reference on it, and then you'll be able to have that shot for ages and everything as well. So then you'll all be looking pretty good. So there you go. Unfortunately, you can't do what the PSA players do, but with training, you can go a long way towards it. So all I suggest to you is just pick your favourite player, someone that matches your body shape, your body characteristics, and do more of what they do and train harder and play a little bit more, and then you'll be able to pretty much head along the directions of doing what the PSA players do. So thanks for listening, and I hope you actually learned something that actually has a positive impact on your game. You know, so many times I get people come to me and go, I cannot believe that nobody else is telling me this stuff. Well, this is basic knowledge, and everybody should know everything that we teach. If you can do us a favour, and that is share this with your friends, tell others about it, and if you want to check out a little bit more about what we do and how we do it, the videos, we have over 1,600 videos online at squashanalysis.com. Anyway, thanks again.